Welcome to part 3 of episode 8. In this video I'm going to be putting some thermal lining on the ceiling, but before I do that I'm going to put some XPS in these grooves here just so I can form the insulation a little bit better. Before we put the ceiling up, we've got to put some thermal lining over here. I should have done this before I'd done all this ceiling, but I didn't, so just making it difficult for myself. Thermal lining protects against moisture condensating on the roof and also stops the roof heating up and passing heat inside the cavity, which would then obviously vent out and heat up the van more. So yeah, I'm using a 10mm on the top there. I'm still keeping the ventilated cavities, so I'm using a 5mm to roll around there, and then I'll be putting another strip across here. And in these little grooves I'll be putting in little strips of XPS, so trying to form this all around this corner and that is going to be too difficult because it doesn't stretch. So yeah, that's how I'm getting over that way, just by gluing the XPS in them grooves. So I'm going to start cracking on with the rest of the van now and then get the ceiling up. This one's pretty much done. I've just got to slide a piece of thermal insulation around the back of that timber, then it's done, and then put a piece across the bottom there like I've done there. I've realised it's easier to do this before I put the thermal insulation on the ceiling, and then I've put the XPS in all the ribs so then I can mould it a bit better. And what I'm going to do to avoid having an air gap in here, I'm going to fill it with silicone, which will also seal it if there is a leak in between the joints in the roof. That one's done now, so I'm going to get the insulation back up, and then I'm going to take the insulation out by the side of the fan, get them done. They should be a lot easier because we don't have these little ventilation channels to try and get round. So get that on, crack on and get this job done. It's coming along now. It's just got this little bit here to do. This one's done, so I'm ready to put back up the insulation, and then we can move to the back and then get this finished. I've started putting the XPS in there, so I'm going to take that panel down and carry on with the XPS after I've finished this little section, and then I can get the thermal lining over the top. The last piece is now done. I use 5mm thermal insulation here because I had to tuck it around the back of this, and then I put another layer over the top. So we've got 10mm over most of it, 5mm on the corners there. So the next job is to make a little piece of timber to go in here, a bit of board, and I can spray foam around the back of here, just to seal up against all of these, insulate all of that, because I can't really get in there that well. So I'll do that. And then it'll be ready to put the insulation back in there and then board the ceiling. I've done this front bit now. I've only used 5mm on here because this is a lot thinner over here because the roof starts to bow down. I might put some more on here. I sort of doubled this bit over to get over this bumpy bit, so if I've got any left I'll put some more on here. I'm going to move on to these sections now. I've got 10mm for this, so we're going to be using the 10mm insulation on there. I've already done the bit behind the timber, so just got to do this panel and then these little ones around here, and another bit to slide around the back of that timber, and that'll be that job done. I finished doing the thermal lining now. I've sealed around the edges, expanded foam in all the small gaps. So I'm ready to get the Celotex back up here now, and then I can get the ceiling up.